Alright, well thank you all for coming, and I hope you find tonight's presentation informative. I hope it answers a lot of your questions. We have an opportunity at the end for questions as well, and it really is your time, so I invite you to make the most of that. So why are we here? It's really to talk about the foundations for our next 150 years. It really is an exciting time. We obviously have some challenges, but we have a lot of opportunity now. Challenges that come with everything that's outside of our control, like the global financial crisis, but also things that are in our control, which is taking our own destiny in our own hands and making sure that we make the most of what we currently have and build something for the future. So about the next 150 years, I wish I had a crystal ball so that I could tell you what's going to happen. But all I do know that we need, as a board, we need to make some decisions now that will set our organisation up for the next 150 years. Now, that includes a number of things that we'll talk about tonight. Those things do include the renovation of the Bluestone building, setting it up for the 150th anniversary, and we'll also talk about the past. We can't forget about the past. We have some nice photos up here of people that we need to remember in the past. They've done some wonderful things, and they are obviously responsible for what we are, where we are today, and we need to continue to push that. Now, when you go up the main stairwell, you'll see that the lead light, and you can't help forget about where we've been. But as I said, where are we going? 150 years? I'm not sure. But what we need to do is ensure this building is here well after we have gone. Now, I'm not sure if any of you have heard of the master plan. There was a master plan, there still is a master plan. The master plan was set in place many, many years ago before I came to the board. That master plan talks about and has talked about the development of the school, the VCD. It talked about a number of steps forward. Now, planning is important, and I think there's a saying that plans are useless, but planning is priceless. Now, what does that mean? That means that if you just make a plan, and that plan includes a 20 to 30 year time frame, and you just keep heading down that path, then you may end up in the wrong place. But planning means that you constantly revise that plan. You look at where you are now, you look at the environment, you look at the demographic that you're serving, and you make sure that you're meeting those requirements. So why are we here? We're talking about a regeneration project. Now, there's been a lot of talk, and we've been doing a lot of work in the background to prepare for this meeting. We want to be as open and honest with you as we can be. But what we are really talking about is a very small parcel of land in the car park at the back, between 5,000 and 5,300 square metres. Now, when you look at that small parcel of land, I'm going to show you now a diagram that actually represents what we are talking about, rather than just give you some numbers. And the area in white is actually the parcel of land that was given to this organisation and that is under what we call the Queen's Caveat. Now, that Queen's Caveat, I'm not going to explain what that is. I'm going to ask Lisa to talk about the Queen's Caveat a little bit later. But it basically says that this land is for this particular purpose. Now, there are a number of other parcels of land listed on this diagram. So these are the parcels of land that we have labelled number 1, number 3 and number 4. Now, those pieces of land were not given to this organisation. They are pieces of land that over the years this organisation has purchased or acquired to meet its requirements at the time, part of the master plan. What we are now talking about is actually taking those pieces of land and considering what we might do with those to benefit this organisation going forward. So what I'm going to talk about now is what piece of land are we actually considering tonight, and that all the discussion is going to be about. So you will notice that this piece of land is actually a little bigger than the previous slide that talks about the land we acquired. So yes, we are asking for a small slice of land that was put under Queen's Caveat to be considered in our path forward for the master plan. So I don't know the legal descriptions and all the legal jargon that goes with this, so I'm going to ask Lisa to come up and actually just give you a brief introduction to what we're talking about.
So as Noel's just suggested, the Queen's Caveat is essentially something that was applied to Lot 2. I might just go back a step there. So the parcel of land you can see is Lot 2 is subject to a reservation, which was actually applied to the land when the land was very first issued to DCA or its predecessors. Now what that reservation says is that the land is to be used for the purpose of a deaf and dumb asylum, which obviously is not necessarily how the land is used currently, but nevertheless that's what the Crown Grant says. The Crown Grant also says that the land is not to be sold or disposed of unless the reservation is removed. So in order to remove the reservation, we need to speak with the state government, which is what we're in the process of doing at the moment, just to see how we do that, who we need to speak to, what kind of authority we need, and pretty much just how to get the ball rolling in that respect. As Noel alluded to, the lots 1, 3 and 4 that you can see on the plan up above, they're not affected by the Queen's Caveat, they're not restricted. DCA is entitled to deal with those parcels as the owner of the land and without needing to consult with the state government in terms of what it decides to do with those 3 lots. That's all.